What's going on, baseball fans? How you doing? We're talking Tomoyuki Sugano. We're talking Jake Odorizzi. We're talking Willson Contreras tonight. Let's get to it.
Wake up the dumb bambino and have me face him. Maybe I'll drill him in the ass.
And what is going on, baseball fans? How you doing? Let's try this again. The last stream failed on us, so let's try this one more time. Hopefully, the microphone is good tonight. I changed a couple of things around in the settings. I think we're doing okay. Just making sure. Let's turn it down just a little. Tell you, I don't know, man. I feel it's like I feel like I got this stuff figured out, and then it just because the microphone was good for I don't know, like over a week straight, and then I don't know, we're starting having problems again. So, everyone, I apologize again. I mean, I don't know. I wish I was an expert at this stuff. Unfortunately, I'm not. So. Just making sure we're all set to go. I'm seeing about 50 people in here right now. Okay, so luckily we didn't get too far into the last stream. So I'm just going to real quick just recap what we were talking about in the last stream, just so if anyone new is coming in, they can, see what they missed. So real quick, Andrew Lee, I am going to talk about Willson Contreras, but I'm just going to real quick just recap Tomoyuki Sugano. Just so I can get people caught up. Also, I just have to do it real quick. If you can, hit that subscribe button. If you are looking for more baseball news, if you are looking for more baseball content, hit that subscribe button. We're talking baseball here all the time. Hit that like button for me, everyone, so we can get this stream out to more baseball fans. Let's get everyone back in here. We were up to a pretty good amount of people before everything started to just stop working. So, if you can, hit that like button for me. Let's try and get to at least 50 likes tonight. I think that would be a good goal for tonight. And hey, go follow me on Twitter if you want to talk some baseball throughout the day. So everyone, real quick. So let's kind of just recap what we were talking about before the stream the microphone decided to stop working. We were talking about Tomoyuki Sugano. So real quick, I'm just going to run through what we were talking about. So Tomoyuki Sugano, the deadline is tomorrow for Tomoyuki Sugano to sign with a team in the major leagues. If not, he'll be going back to the Yomiuri Giants, who have offered him a deal, a 4-year deal with some opt-outs, so that way he could be able to try coming back to the major leagues again next year and the year after that and the year after that. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen, just recapping what we talked about. Again, apologies about the microphone, but as we can see here, Boston, they are likely out on Sugano. They went after Arihara. He was cheap. I figured the Red Sox were more likely going to go after Arihara, who went to the Rangers. He signed a 2-year, $7 million deal. I figured Tomoyuki Sugano was going to be way more expensive than that. Did not think they were going to go after Tomoyuki Sugano, and it's looking like my suspicions were correct. Jeff Passan is reporting that these teams are out of the race, the Mets, the Giants, and the Red Sox. For the Red Sox, it looks like the asking price was just too high. So, yeah, I was a little surprised about the Giants. I thought maybe the Giants would want to be in it because they really could use some starting pitching as well. I figured he would fit nicely into that rotation. The Mets, a little surprised, but also not surprised because I think the Mets, they're trying to make smart purchases now. They have a new ownership regime, so they're trying to make more smart purchases. At the end of the day, Tomoyuki Sugano is a risk. He's had some health problems in the last couple of years. He's had good numbers over in Japan, but these pitchers that come over for internationally, you don't know what you're going to get from them. I think his stuff is going to play well in the major leagues, but you just never know. You never know. So overall, again, the Red Sox, Mets, Giants, they're out of it. But one team that really is showing some interest, according to Ken Rosenthal, is the Blue Jays. They're making a strong bid, according to Rosenthal. It's not known what the offer is, so don't be surprised if you see him back with the Blue Jays or coming to the Blue Jays. But also don't be surprised as well if he ends up just going back to Japan. Usually that tends not to happen. These players, I think he's just holding out for the best possible deal until the last second. You usually don't see these guys go back to Japan. I mean, he's 31 years old. I think that's too risky to go back to Japan. I think he's going to come to the major leagues. I mean, he probably really wanted to go to a team like the Red Sox or the Mets or something like that. Seems like the Toronto is just never really an attractive place to go to. But hey, I mean, Sugano, if he's really wanting to pitch in the major leagues, I think the Blue Jays could be a good spot. They have Hyun-Jin Ryu at the top of the rotation, but after that, you don't really know what you have in that Toronto Blue Jays rotation. Let's go to real quick. We were taking a look earlier at their depth chart. If we take a look, you got Nate Pearson there, you got Trent Thornton, you got Tanner Roark, you got Robbie Ray, but overall, the entire starting rotation, it's below average. It's not a good starting rotation overall. I think they need to add someone. Tomoyuki Sugano, I think they would be better getting someone that's a little more established. Someone like a Jake Odorizzi, someone that's pitched in the major leagues. But hey, if they can strike lightning in a bottle with a Tomoyuki Sugano, that could really elevate this pitching staff. If he ends up being really good, Hyun-Jin Ryu and him at the top of the rotation with a guy like a Nate Pearson, with a guy like a Tanner Roark, if he can bounce back, Trent Thornton, if he can be healthy this year, Robbie Ray, if he can get himself right, there is potential in this Blue Jays rotation. So I think for the Blue Jays overall, I think it would be a good move if they got him. So overall, yeah, Tomoyuki Sugano, the deadline is tomorrow. The deadline is tomorrow for Sugano. So I think we're all caught up now. This is basically where we left off before the microphone stopped working. So our next story that we got into right before the microphone stopped working was the Angels being interested in Willson Contreras. So the Angels, they're a team, I think a lot of us would agree that the Angels really need starting pitching. They're going hard after Trevor Bauer. They really want Trevor Bauer to come to the Angels to really lift up that pitching staff. But they could also use an upgrade at catcher as well. So if we go take a look at the article that we were looking at, so sharing the screen here, taking a look. So Angels interested in Willson Contreras. So Angels are making a bid to reunite with Joe Maddon, or for him to reunite with Joe Maddon, according to Ken Rosenthal, so giving credit where it's due. We were talking, before the microphone stopped working in the last stream, we were talking about how Max Stassi, he is their starting catcher as of right now. But is Max Stassi going to be your best option going forward? I mean, he's never really played like a full-blown season. He played 88 games in 2018, but overall he didn't do very good that year. Only had a 710 OPS, only hit 226. On base was low. He did well last year in 2020, but again, it was a small sample size, 31 games, but he did have an 886 OPS. The defense has been fine with him. But I think Max Stassi overall, I think honestly, in my personal opinion, he just seems to be more of like a backup catcher to me. So I don't know. I think he could be something. He's only 29 years old, but I mean, really, what else are you going to get out of a Max Stassi? I don't know. I mean, maybe you give him a chance this year if you're the Angels, but I think if there is a trade that could be made if you're the Angels, I say why not? Why not go after a Willson Contreras? So this is right when the microphone stopped working. We went to baseball trade values. I still have the screen already set up so we can dive right into it. Let me move over real quick. I'm just making sure you guys can see everything. I might move this over just a smidge. Can you guys see everything here? Okay, it looks like you guys can see everything. All right, so here we go. So with the Cubs, Willson Contreras, I already have the Cubs. So taking a look here, what could be a possible good trade for a Willson Contreras? So as you can see on baseball trade values, he's got a 28.3 value. So Oh, let me make sure. Are we all caught up here? Okay. So taking a look, Willson Contreras, 28.3 value, and that's a pretty decent value going back to the Angels. Now, what could the Angels send back? That's the question. So I don't think you're going to get fleeced on a deal like you did with Yu Darvish. I did not like the trade overall for Yu Darvish on paper as of right now. It could be better down the road for a Yu Darvish, or the pieces that you got back for him. Who knows? 5 to 10 years from now, those pieces end up being really good players. We'll have to wait and see. So it's going to be on the Cubs to be able to develop those guys that they got back. However, they really wanted like these young, really high upside guys. So, hey, maybe the Cubs know something that we don't. But Willson Contreras, I don't think you're going to get fleeced for a guy like him. He still has a couple of years of control. He's a catcher, first off. Young good catchers in this game, they're very scarce. So Willson Contreras, the Cubs don't have to get rid of this guy. He's not going to cost them a lot of money. He's cost controlled. He's going to be a pretty good offensive player. He's going to give you some pretty good defense from behind the plate. And he would be an upgrade for the Angels. So I think the Cubs here, they have the leverage. I think the Angels, they would have to give them a really good offer to entice them. So here we go. Taking a look, what could you possibly give for a Willson Contreras? So I think with the Cubs, they want prospects. So I don't think, I don't think Mike Trout is going to be involved in this deal. So we're just going to move on past him. Joe Adell, I don't think you're going to see a Joe Adell in this kind of a trade. Look at that value on Joe Adell, almost about a 55. I think that's a little out of the question. I think even Brandon Marsh is a bit out of the question too. We can actually get into a couple of scenarios here in a little bit, maybe involving a Brandon Marsh. But I think if you're just going for straight up Willson Contreras, I think you kind of have some options here. So, they did just draft this left-hander Reed Detmers. So maybe the Cubs could get someone like him back, maybe a Jordan Adams. And then right here, you're just with these two guys, you're on the right track already. Do the Angels want to give up a Jordan Adams? He's an uber athletic outfielder, got a ton of speed, a good raw power. Jordan Adams could be a really good player down the road, still very far away. But so with a Jordan Adams, I think you could see him in a deal like this. I mean, like with the Angels, if you're looking at it already, they already got Mike Trout. They got Joe Adell. They got Brandon Marsh, who could be ready in the next year or two. So Jordan Adams, I think, could be expendable. Throw in a Reed Detmers. Maybe you can throw in one more guy to get this done. I don't know, just some random prospect. I don't know. Maybe just throw in another pitching prospect and you got it done. I don't know, or maybe you send back Stassi. They need a catcher, so maybe you can send Stassi back. Something like that. I think Stassi would be a really good backup, but if the Cubs want to get a catcher in return, I don't know, maybe you can get Stassi back in this kind of a deal, and then there you go. I mean, you get a couple of prospects, you get a catcher in return. So, I mean, something like this maybe. I'm not saying this is the only thing that could possibly happen. There's all these other choices that of prospects or players that you can pick from. Now, let's make this maybe a little more fun. As like I said earlier, the Angels do need starting pitching. And the Cubs just so happen to have a starting pitcher that maybe they could include in a trade, and that's Kyle Hendricks. You could maybe see something like this. JH Sports, please. No spamming like that, please. So if we're taking a look here, we got a lot of value here on the Angels to make up here. We got a ton of value, 65.8 value going back to the Angels. So this is where I think you could include someone like a Brandon Marsh. Let's get rid of Detmers here. Let's start fresh. So let's just keep Stassi in here. I don't know. Just keep Stassi just so it kind of balances out the catchers a little bit. And then you could have Ben Boom as your catcher. So, I mean, right here, you're still very far away. You would have to include something else. You would have to include something else here. Brandon Marsh. This is where you can throw in a Reed Detmers. And then, I don't know, you can kind of just start going down the list. You still have to make up a ton of value here. Could you maybe, I don't know if you're the Angels, you would do this. I don't know if you would do this. Would you just do Kyle Hendricks and Willson Contreras for Joe Adell? I mean, I think that's a little far-fetched. Would the Angels do this? I don't know. That's pretty enticing if you ask me. Cubs get a top prospect. I mean, I don't know. It's not the worst thing, I think. I don't know. I mean, Joe Adell, he had his struggles last year. And the Angels, if you're in win-now mode, I'm just saying, I'm seeing a lot of thumbs down here. I mean, but in all honesty, if you're the Angels and you really want to win now, you're getting a starting pitcher in Kyle Hendricks, who's pretty solid. You're getting a young catcher in Willson Contreras. You're going to have to part with a Joe Adell. I mean, if you really think about it, yeah, Orioles, you could definitely see the Cubs saying no to this as well. I mean, would this be enough for the Cubs? But if you look here, this would actually be an overpay from the Cubs. So I think if you're the Angels, realistically, you would have to include someone else. So maybe you throw in a Reed Detmers or another young pitcher, maybe a Patrick Sandoval, something like this, And I think you're pretty close here, I don't know. It's been a long time, it feels like, since the Angels have had a really good starting pitcher, and Kyle Hendricks could be a guy that you could see go back in this kind of a deal. I think if you're the Cubs, if you could get yourself a Joe Adell, man, that's pretty good. You got yourself a young, talented player for the future, someone that has a ton of potential. I mean, I don't know, So there's a lot of things you could do here. Let's say you don't go Adell. Let's just say Angels say no way, he's off limits. Then you're really going to have to load up on prospects. You're going to have to do I think you would have to do a Brandon Marsh in this situation. I think you would have to I don't know, I think you would have to do something like a Sandoval, maybe a Detmers as well. And then I think you maybe have something here. I mean, if you're the Cubs, you're still overpaying in this kind of a deal. I think you can maybe scratch out another prospect here. I don't know, maybe get Jackson, Jeremiah Jackson maybe, or Paris. And then I think you're pretty close to something here. A 5-for-2 trade. I don't know. There's a lot of options. Jackson, I agree. I think if you're the Angels, Joe Adell is probably not going to be on the move. But this is what it would take if you want to do a package of guys if you want to do a package of a Willson Contreras and a Kyle Hendricks. I think this is something something like this you're going to have to see, or a Joe Adell. So, and again, if you just do it for a Willson Contreras, if you take off Hendricks, then, I mean, really, if you're the Cubs, I don't think you're really going to get too much. You're definitely not going to get Adell. You're not going to get Marsh. I think you're going to get a guy like a Jordan Adams and like maybe like a Reed or like a Reed Detmers, something like that. I don't think they would get rid of Sandoval if they're not getting back a starting pitcher. Or maybe you do get Sandoval. I don't know. But I mean, if you're not getting a starting pitcher in return, I don't know about that. But I think this is kind of what you're looking at. If you're the Angels and the Cubs and you're just going to do Willson Contreras, I mean, Jordan Adams, Reed Detmers, get back Stassi as well. I think something like this would have to be the trade. But I don't know. If you're the Cubs, I mean, really, let's be realistic about this right now. If you're the Cubs, if you're trading away all your guys, you've already traded away Yu Darvish. Why are you hanging on to a Kyle Hendricks? Why? What's the point? I don't see the point. If you're not going to compete, unless you want to wait until the trade deadline to maybe squeeze out some more value, maybe get some teams that are a little more desperate for starting pitching help, what is the point of hanging on to a Kyle Hendricks? If you're going into a rebuild mode, why hang on to the guy? He's not going to do anything for you in the short term except just waste away. So why not get something for him? I mean, there's really no point to hang on to a Kyle Hendricks. If you're going to trade away Darvish, if you're going to trade away Chris Bryant, if you're going to trade away a Willson Contreras, why are you hanging on to a Kyle Hendricks? There's no point. There's no point. I don't know. If I'm the Cubs, you got Kyle Hendricks on a pretty friendly contract. This is a guy that he's only 31 years old. Unless if you feel like you can retool in the next couple of years and you want to hang on to a Kyle Hendricks, then fine, I can see that. But I don't know, if you just gave away Yu Darvish for a bag of magic beans, then I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Unless they just really want to hang on to a Hendricks, if they think they can be back, they can still compete this year, which really they could. They could still compete this year. Could they make a deep playoff run? I don't know. On paper, probably not. Their offense has not been very good the last couple of years. I think the Cubs, they see the writing on the wall, and I think the Cubs are ready to just go fire sale. That's just how I think. Because really, what have the Cubs done? They won the World Series, and they've just been this stagnant team ever since. You got guys with their contracts coming up. You might as well just load up on prospects. I don't know. That's just my opinion, and just start fresh. So, but what do you all think? Do you think, what do you think about this? Do you think the Angels could get Willson Contreras? What do you think? Give me a thumbs up in the chat. I want to see what you guys are thinking. So, what are we thinking? Jackson, not to Adele. JH Sports, please no spamming. Francisco Bravo, thumbs up. Nick with the thumbs up. Iron with the thumbs up. Jackson, he likes the move. Benjamin, do not believe so. Hold on. Okay. Loop, thumbs up. If we can keep Adele and Detmers, yeah, that would be really good too. Audrey and Lucy, I am scared. What are we scared of, Audrey and Lucy? Are we scared of the Cubs maybe trading everyone away? I would be kind of scared too. If that were the Red Sox, I don't know. I get kind of excited over prospects. There's something about, like, even though it's kind of sad when you see your team like start to, like, if you're I don't know, if you're a Marlins fan, I think you have a different feeling about it. But I don't know. I get kind of excited about, like, when you kind of get some young players in return. You get optimistic about the future. So, but Andrew Lee with the thumbs up. Alrighty. Awesome, everyone. Awesome. Savage Gamer. Yes, we're at 30 likes right now. Everyone, if you can hit that thumbs up for me, I'm trying to get to 50 likes. We're at 93 people in the chat right now. That is awesome to see. Thank you so much for coming by. So let's get to our next story. Hold on one second. Okay, so taking a look at our next story. My next story. I can talk about my team. For once, I feel like I never get to talk about my own team, and that is Jake Odorizzi getting some serious interest from the Red Sox. So this is, I have some mixed feelings about this, to be honest with you. I am not a big fan of Jake Odorizzi unless we can get him for a good price. I think with Jake Odorizzi, and let me explain here. So Jake Odorizzi, I think if you really think about the starting pitching market this year, there's really not a lot of starting pitching. You got Trevor Bauer, you had Marcus Stroman, you got guys like James Paxton and Masahiro Tanaka out there, but there's not really, besides Trevor Bauer, there's not a lot out there when it comes to starting pitching. Like, you have some, above average kind of names, but you don't have like these transcendent kind of names. And I think Jake Odorizzi a little bit. I'm not hating on Jake Odorizzi here, but ultimately, I think he's good. I don't think Jake Odorizzi, though, is like this transcendent, like, number two kind of a guy. I've seen people say, like, Jake Odorizzi could be a really good number two in a rotation. I disagree. I think Jake Odorizzi is more of like a 3 or a 4 in a starting rotation, in like a really good starting rotation. I don't think he is like this guy that's really going to like transform your rotation, but he can be a really solid guy. However, I think he needs to come at the right price. So let me explain. I'm going to dive into this a little bit. So, but let's share the story. Let's give credit where it's due. So right now, if we take a look, the Red Sox are showing serious interest. So this is why I like this story that much more, because there is serious interest. You've been hearing teams all offseason, oh, this team is interested in that player. They're interested in this player. But at least this has serious interest. So they're showing serious interest in Jake Odorizzi, according to Mike Feinsand of MLB.com. This isn't the first link between the two sides who were connected in the rumor mill just a few weeks ago. Odorizzi entered a subpar, injury-shortened 2020 with the Twins, but he is an accomplished starter who has ties to Red Sox chief baseball officer Chaim Bloom. So he was with the Rays from 2013 to 2017. That was when Chaim Bloom was with the Rays. He did pretty good with the Rays. It was nothing like spectacular with the Rays. And he's done pretty good with the Twins. He had his best season in 2019. So if we go take a look at Jake Odorizzi, Jake Odorizzi, if we look, I mean, last year was kind of a lost season for him. I believe he had something wrong with his chest muscle, or something, and he only made 4 starts last year. So, but overall, not very good. He got hit around, a 6.59 ERA, a 6.12 FIP. The strikeouts per 9 went down a good amount, 10 strikeouts to about 8 strikeouts. The walks went down a little bit. Again, it was 4 starts. He was giving up hits. I mean, it was a lost year for Jake Odorizzi. But if you go back to 2019, he was a solid number 3, number 4, 15-7, 3.51 ERA, a 3.36 FIP, good amount of strikeouts, walks are decent. But if we take a look at Odorizzi, the one problem I have with Jake Odorizzi is he doesn't go very deep into games. I believe, according to my math, right now, so if we take a look, so in his career, he's averaged, so he's pitched 1,042 innings. And in his career, he started 192 games. That is averaging about 5.5 innings per start. That is not that great. He doesn't go very deep into games. Like 5 innings, I guess, is fine. But man, when I got a starting pitcher, I want more out of this guy. You know, I want more innings. I want this guy who can go into the 6th inning, who can go into the 7th inning. He tends to really, he just doesn't go very deep into games, and he's shown that over his career. Sure, he had a good year in 2019. But you know, if you look at the FIP in 2018, it was a 4.19, which isn't bad. But then if you look at 2017, a 5.43 FIP. Again, a really good year in 2019. I'm not taking anything away, but really, I'm looking at this. 159 innings, 160 innings. That's not a lot of innings. It's not a lot of innings, you know, and I want more innings out of a starting pitcher. Now, the one thing that I did read with Jake Odorizzi, let me actually see if I can pull it up real quick. I believe the offer that he was looking for, I don't think it was a lot. I think he was looking for somewhere in the $36 to $40 million range. Where is that article? Let me see. Hold on. Oh, don't freeze on me now, computer. Oh, here we go. This is the article I was reading. So, Sox target Jake Odorizzi seeking this contract in free agency. So, he is looking, according to Ken Rosenthal, he is looking for a 3-year contract worth $36 million and $42 million. Whoa, what are we doing right now? Okay. Yes, I would love Corey Kluber. Please, Red Sox, if you're Chaim Bloom, if you're in the chat right now, can you please bring Corey Kluber to Boston? I would love this. Please, take a chance on the guy. It's going to be kind of hard to get him, though. But, again, going back to Jake Odorizzi, $36 million, $42 million for 3 years. So that's right around like 12 to 14 million. Hold on, what's 42? 42 divided by 3, 14 million. So he's looking for 12 to 14 million. To be honest with you, I actually tweeted about this today. Let me actually pull up that tweet. This is what I'm saying. Go follow me on Twitter. I'm talking baseball over there. Hold on one second. How do I get to my... Oh, here we go. Profile, tweets. Where was my reply? Oh, here we go. So I said this today. I'm going no more than $12 million per year for him. Hendricks, so we were just talking about Kyle Hendricks earlier. Kyle Hendricks averages just under $13 million per year. Carlos Carrasco averages under $12 million per year, and both are better than Jake Odorizzi. I think we can all agree you would rather have a Kyle Hendricks and you would rather have a Carlos Carrasco. They're making right around what Jake Odorizzi wants. However, the only problem with Odorizzi is he's only averaging 5.4 innings pitched per start in his career. To me, that's not a lot of innings. Carlos Carrasco, he's averaging around just under, I think like 5.9 innings pitched per start. And Kyle Hendricks is averaging like 6.1 innings pitched per start. To me, I don't know. I'm not giving Jake Odorizzi a ton of money. To be honest with you, I don't think he's really even worth $11 million per, because you're getting Kyle Hendricks for 13 and Carlos Carrasco for 12. I'm basically paying for less production at the same price. I don't know. I think if you can get Jake Odorizzi, I don't know, if you can get him for like 34 million, like 33, I think, man, if you could do that, I know the Red Sox need starting pitching, but I don't know. Again, it's not the worst. It's not a lot of money. It's not a ton of money. I wouldn't be against this move at all, but I just think Jake Odorizzi, if you can get him for under 40 million, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that. It does kind of annoy me a little bit where you got guys like Hendricks and Carrasco. Again, those were team-friendly deals. They probably could have gotten a little more on the open market. But, I just think Jake Odorizzi, you can't overpay for him. You should not overpay for Jake Odorizzi. He's shown in his career he can't go very deep into games. He's really only had one good year. If you take a look at Jake Odorizzi one more time, he's been an all-star one time in his career. He finished 8th in Rookie of the Year voting. I mean, really, I think Jake Odorizzi a little bit, and maybe this is a bit harsh, but I think Jake Odorizzi is one of the more overrated players in this free agent market. And I'm not trying to say like he's a bad player. I just think people are looking at a Jake Odorizzi like, wow, that could be like a number 2 in the rotation. I've seen people say it. I've seen people say it on Twitter. Wow, he would be like a great number 2. He's not. He's not a number 2. He's a 3 at best. He's a number 3 at best. He's not going to be anything more than a 3 unless maybe he can take a step forward. You don't know. But again, how old is he now? He's 30 years old, about to turn 31. So Jake Odorizzi, I mean, he just had something wrong with his chest last year. I don't know. I just think you can't overpay for a guy like this. You can't overpay for a guy like this. But what do you think about this move, everyone? Do you think this would be a good move for the Red Sox? Tell me down below in the chat. Would you give this a thumbs up for the Red Sox as they brought in Jake Odorizzi? Or would you give this a thumbs down? I'll give it a thumbs up. I'd be okay with Jake Odorizzi, but I think you have to kind of know what you're getting with a Jake Odorizzi. You're not going to get a lot of innings per start. If he can, he has shown he can strike out some guys. I think it would be a good move. I wouldn't be mad at it at all. I just think don't overpay for that guy. Don't be throwing like $50 million at the guy. So I think what he was asking for, I think that was actually very sensible in all honesty, because that's kind of right around Carlos Carrasco and Kyle Hendricks. They're making that kind of money. Kyle Hendricks has won a World Series. So I'm just saying, I think that's actually a pretty sensible asking price from a Jake Odorizzi. That seems to be right around where his market is in terms of production. I would not be surprised to see him go to the Red Sox at all. And I think it would be a good move for the Red Sox. They need some depth in that rotation. So, yeah. So, I'm seeing a lot of thumbs ups, though. A lot of thumbs ups. Yes, Savage Gamer 34. We're at 40 likes. Everyone, we need 10 more likes to get to 50. Hit that thumbs up for me. Hit that thumbs up for me. We're trying to get to 50 likes. I'm seeing 81 people, 84 people in the chat right now. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I'm talking baseball here all the time. So, moving on to our next story. I think this is actually our last story of the night. So we'll just go through this really quick. Funny enough, I talked about him last night, and that's Brad Hand. That's the wrong picture. That is not the right picture. No. Can we hold on a second? Let me pull this up. Can I fix this? Let's fix this. Nope, I can't fix it. Darn it. Anyway, that's not the right picture, everyone. I'm going to show you the actual article instead. Hold on, let me share my screen. That was last night's. I must have forgotten to switch that picture. But taking a look, the White Sox and the Dodgers are among potential Brad Hand suitors. So funny enough with the Dodgers, they just re-signed Blake Treinen to a deal last night. Right at the end of our stream last night, Blake Treinen re-signed for a 2-year deal, I believe for $17 million. That sounds about right. I like that move. I thought it was a good move. But could you imagine the Dodgers also bringing in a Brad Hand? They have been connected with Brad Hand this whole offseason. You've seen the Dodgers and Brad Hand be connected with each other. But it's also not surprising either to see the White Sox involved in this too. So let's actually pull up. Let's pull up the White Sox depth chart real quick. Let's kind of look at their bullpen. I'll tell you, I really like Garrett Crochet in that bullpen. This is a guy out of the University of Tennessee. He pitched last year. This dude, he can deal, man. Garrett Crochet, do not be surprised if this is the team's closer at some point. This is a guy, man. He pitched last year. He even pitched in the playoffs. He just got drafted. 6 innings. I mean, didn't give up a run. 8 strikeouts over those 6 innings. This is a guy that just got drafted. Just got drafted. He was the 11th pick, and he was throwing bullets for the White Sox last year. It was a small sample size, but holy cow, this is a guy that can hit 100. I mean, look out for Garrett Crochet. But anyway, if you're looking at the entire White Sox bullpen, you got some decent options in here. Let's just go down the list here. Evan Marshall, pretty good year last year. So you're not going to get... So it's looking like Alex Colomé might not be going back. It's looking like they're maybe going to go for something else. Matt Foster, he had himself a pretty good year. Aaron Bummer, he's a lefty. He had himself a really good year. It was a small sample size, 9 games, 0.96 ERA, though, 14 strikeouts over 9 innings. I mean, you got guys like Jace Fry. You know, a decent year from him, 18 games, 3.66 ERA. But with the fact that they lost Alex Colomé, you know, you could bring in a guy like Brad Hand. He's used to the division. So, you know, he's pitched in that AL Central now for a bit. And I think Brad Hand would be a really good fit with the White Sox. But if you think about the Dodgers, taking a look at the Dodgers, look at this bullpen. Look at this bullpen. Where Kenley Jansen, when is Kenley Jansen a free agent? I think he's a free agent next year. But Kenley Jansen, as we all saw in the World Series, he got replaced as the closer. Blake Treinen took over for him in Game 5, and he got the save in that game. But Kenley Jansen, he had that big contract, 5 years, $80 million. I think the Dodgers are very excited to get out of that deal. So he's got 1 more year left on that deal. I could definitely see the Dodgers going after a Brad Hand now, so that way when they lose Kenley, they're probably not going to bring Kenley Jansen back. I just don't see them bringing him back. I could see him going like, you know, once he's at the end of this deal, he'll just start getting cheaper, like 1-year deals, kind of bounce around a little bit. But Kenley Jansen, he actually had a decent year last year, but then when he hit the playoffs, again, Kenley Jansen just cannot perform in the playoffs. I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of good options in this bullpen. I mean, Kenley Jansen, if he can get himself, you know, right consistently, then it's a good option. But you got Blake Treinen in there. Brusdar Graterol. I love me some Brusdar Graterol. Dylan Floro. I mean, he actually had himself a pretty good year last year, over 25 games, a 2.59 ERA. Didn't do so hot in the postseason, but overall, a pretty solid year for him. Victor Gonzalez had himself a pretty good year last year. A 1.33 ERA over 15 games. I mean, you got, hey, I love Joe Kelly, man. Joe Kelly Fight Club. I'm all about it, man. He actually had himself a pretty good year. So he pitched in 5 games in the postseason. Joe Kelly, man. Hey, I love Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly Fight Club. I'm a proud member. So, but overall, I mean, he had to have that suspension at one point, but he does walk guys. That's the only problem with Joe Kelly. His control can get a little But the Dodgers, they also signed Tommy Kahnle and Corey Kniebel. So the Dodgers are loading up on relievers right now. They're not going to have Kahnle this year. He had Tommy John. But this is a guy I really wanted the Red Sox to get him. When I found out that the Red Sox were actually involved with him and then they didn't end up getting him, I got pretty annoyed about that because I love Tommy Kahnle. I got to see Tommy Kahnle pitch with the Yankees. I saw him quite a bit when we would play the Yankees. And he was really good. He's a fun guy in the clubhouse, too. I think he's going to be a good fit any team he goes because he's always just such a good personality in the clubhouse. The Dodgers are going to love having him next year. Not in 2021, 2022. But then they got Corey Kniebel. This is a guy that actually, he's had some success in his career. I mean, look at 2017. Really good year out of that bullpen for the Brewers. A 1.78 ERA. I mean, this is a guy, man, where he had a ton of strikeouts that year. 2018, kind of digressed a little bit. ERA went up a little bit. The average against him went up a little bit. Still pretty good, though. But then 2020, kind of just a lost season for him. 15 games, kind of just lost it. And now he's going to he's getting a fresh start with the Dodgers. But if he can turn it around, man, this Dodgers bullpen could be really good. And if you can add a Brad Hand to it, a reliable arm like that from the left side, I think that would be really good. So no surprise here to see these two teams involved. They're trying to get these bullpens beefed up. I think Brad Hand would be an awesome fit with the Dodgers. I mean, honestly, the Dodgers at this point, I mean, you're really close to that luxury tax line. So if they don't end up getting a DJ LeMahieu, I could see them making a move like this for a Brad Hand. So I don't know. Tell me what you think in the chat, everyone. Where do you think he's going to end up going, Brad Hand? I think that he's one of the more interesting players in this free agent market because he had a really good year last year and he's always been pretty good. So tell me in the chat, do you think there's a better chance he goes to the White Sox or do you think there's a better chance he goes to the Dodgers? Tell me what you think down below in the chat. Or is there another team you think Brad Hand could go to? Action Jackson, he is saying the Mets. So, hey, Bodie, he's going to go to the KBO. That's what I'm talking about. Iron Sports Edits, you think the White Sox? Hey, the Phillies are an option too. Look out for the Phillies. The Phillies could really use Brad Hand. Bodie Maudlin, I thought the Red Sox could go get Brad Hand. I made that prediction in my free agent predictions. I don't know why the Red Sox aren't going after a Brad Hand. Why not? He's not going to cost a lot of money. I mean, go get him. Why not bring him in? He would be a good arm for the bullpen. I don't understand that. I don't know. Gators, thoughts on Bauer? Who knows, man? He's starting to really annoy me lately with his tweets with Rachel Luba. They're just getting a little annoying at this point, you know? I don't know. They're like getting all defensive and whatnot with John Heyman. I think overall he's going to be the best fit with the Angels. But yeah, so alrighty. I'm seeing Mets. I'm seeing White Sox, Phillies, Braves. That'd be a good option, Fortnite guy. Hey, Braves would be a good fit for Brad Hand as well. So, Charger, do I see the Padres doing anything else? I feel like they may make some like minor moves, you know? I mean, they've already just done so much, you know? So, all right, everyone. Well, that is all the news that I have for tonight. Everyone, again, I want to apologize about the microphone, but hey, it looks like the microphone made it for this stream. Sounds pretty good to me. So, hey, the microphone made it throughout this whole stream this time. So, everyone, before I get out of here, if you can, hit that thumbs up for me. Hit that like button for me. It's going to help this stream get out to more baseball fans that maybe weren't able to get here tonight. And if you are looking for more baseball news, hit that subscribe button. I'm talking baseball here. Feels like all the time, honestly. So, everyone, that's all I got for tonight. I want to thank you so much for coming out tonight. And I'll be back here tomorrow night if there is any more news to talk about. So, everyone, I'll talk to you next time.